Good morning, family. This is Reggie coming to you live Saturday morning from my backyard with an update, community update as to what's going on in the community, giving you some of my observations. And it seems like since the election of our new president, Barack Obama, much of the momentum and excitement that was had during the campaign and getting to the point of getting him elected has kind of dissipated and drifted away, and we've kind of gotten back to business as usual. And the economy has kind of been knocking us around quite a bit, and we've had our own local issues of what's happening up in the state Senate. Hopefully they're getting that situation resolved, but you know, we don't seem to have a coherent direction or vision as a community, and we haven't built upon the lessons that we should have learned from the historic election of our President Barack Obama. And what do I consider to be a couple of the most important lessons that we can really draw upon and move on from this point? One, something that he made the point of consciously during the campaign. He said over and over again that the campaign wasn't really about him, it was about us. It was only when we got sick and tired of the leadership that we were getting from Bush and the war in Iraq and the way that he was dragging the economy down did we rally together and do what we needed to do in order to get Barack Obama elected. And number two, the skillful use that the Obama made of the internet and utilizing the internet to raise a lot of money from a lot more people, getting a lot more of the $10, $20, $50, $100 donations from regular everyday common folks. He raised so much money he had to go back on a campaign promise that he made to accept public financing. Once he saw how much money he could raise utilizing the internet, he said, I'll stick with this method. And also the way that he skillfully used the internet, and especially video internet, to communicate with, organize, and motivate the supporters that he had in his campaign. We have to begin to recognize as individuals that we're in the midst of a serious change here. Many say we're in the midst of revolution. And we have to understand that we're living in a very rapidly changing world, and it's one where we're going to have to become more individually responsible for our own health and welfare. We see that jobs are becoming less secure. The unemployment rate is practically at 10% and heading higher. And the underemployment rate, meaning those people who are working part-time that really want to work full-time, the unemployment rate is up almost 17%. And that's not even taking into account all of the people who are not even looking for work because they've been so discouraged. Many of those in our own black community. Bankruptcies and government bailouts are once the titans of world business. I'm talking about General Motors, bankrupt, Chrysler, bankrupt, Citibank, Bank of America would be bankrupt without government bailouts. Many of us who work on even civil service jobs who thought that it was all secure and that we were good to go, many of us find our hours being cut back. We see in California, they're paying employees with IOUs. You can't go to the grocery store and give them an IOU for the groceries or hand that over to your landlord talking about an IOU. You know, and they talk about increased productivity with technology. Yes, that is true. They're increasing the productivity on your backs because they're able to do more with less. So that means that this recovery, when it ever comes about, they're going to be able to do it with less people. So that means many people who are laid off, their jobs are never coming back. especially because we have to deal with the factors of globalization, where they're simply shifting jobs overseas because with technology they can afford to do that and pay those workers significantly less, and oftentimes, I'm afraid to say, they get even better productivity out of those workers who they're paying less. So you know, I had a conversation recently with one of my neighbors who is an executive in the civil service field, and she says that she's talking about stories of her co-workers who are fellow executives, many of them who are filing for bankruptcies because they have fell prey to too much credit or easy credit or refinancing schemes that did not pan out or whatever. You know, and it got me to thinking, who has really prepared us with the financial education that we're going to need to be able to, you know, really deal in the 21st century? I know we can't say the public schools have, unless you're a finance major who has happened to get to college. In the general curriculum that we have learned, that has not been a part of it. So with all of these things in mind, I invite you guys out to the Opportunity Center that is going to be taking place every Saturday evening at 7 o'clock over at the Jerome Hardeman Daycare Center on Astoria Boulevard and Gilmore Street. Every Saturday at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a place where we can not only come together and elaborate on the issues of the day and not only make sense of those things, but how to be able to translate this information and these skills on to how to set up home-based businesses where we can learn to make money utilizing technology and taking advantage of the greatest opportunity that we have for our own self-sufficiency and our own economic freedom. Our biggest impediment is our own way of thinking. We still have the shackles of mental slavery on many of our minds, thinking that we have to wait for a job instead of being able to create income earning opportunities for one another. I have a saying that goes a little something like this that basically describes my economic philosophy. It says, the money that flows through our community is like the blood that flows through our body. If we look at the Flushing community with the Koreans and the Chinese and all the significant economic development they're getting, and they're even getting tours now coming from mainland China and Korea coming there. That's why they have hotels that are springing up, and their shops, they advertise only in their language because they're recycling their community dollars with one another. So we only need to look at our brothers and sisters over there, our Korean brothers and sisters and Chinese brothers, and look at what they're doing and take the positive example of what they're doing. We can't control what the newspapers print about how the New York Post feels about us and stuff like that, but we can control how we spend our money. So with the Opportunity and Center over at Jerome Hardeman Daycare Center, and dealing specifically with the Black Business Builders Club that shows us in the information age the ability to utilize information technology, video technology, and being able to share information can be our salvation. So I urge you guys, come on over to the center every Saturday. I've made my commitment to forego my Saturday evenings to come out and work on this, which is a passion of mine. So if you feel passionate about this, this is a place where you can come out this Saturday and every Saturday. Come on out to the Opportunity Center. Anyway, my time is starting to run a little short. I'm going to be hitting you back, giving you the latest update on what's going on with the Montserrat situation and a soon coming public forum where I've secured a commitment from his office to meet with us. Anyway, I hear my granddaughter crying in the background, so I'm signing off. Take care.